9. I think we did 1 to 6. Astvindhyani manasa niyamya labate jana karmendriya karma yogam asakta savashishyate. Translation. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Purport. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime svartagati, or goal of self-interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashram is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastra and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper of the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Text 8. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jayo yakarmana shariras yatrapi chatena prasidyad. A karmana, perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. There are many pseudo-meditators who represent themselves as belonging to high parentage and great professional men who falsely propose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender. Rather, the Lord desired that Arjuna perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as described for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of materialistic propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or, in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so through prescribed duties, prescribed yogis or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yoga as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashram institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnashram acharavata purushena parapamam Vishnu arajate, the Vishnu Purana 388. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage, for both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reactions binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu, and while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work, and in the beginning this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the creation of work, but also gradually elevate one to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapadanena Bhutale Swayam Upagadamayam Dadati Svapatantikam Namo Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vishnaya Budale Srimani Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayane Yurvashesha Samivaya Paschata Deshatarane. So, up until now, Krishna has elaborately described the soul and basically that it cannot be killed. There's all these verses in the second chapter which explain how the soul cannot be burned, dried, it cannot even be seen. It's very, very tiny, 1/10,000th part, the tip of a hair. But so he's after Krishna. Arjuna's telling Krishna that he cannot work or he cannot fight, basically, and Krishna looks upon him in kind of with a frown. You can almost feel it. What are you talking about? You know, you're in front of the battle here, and you're speaking learned words, but what you're saying is what you're lamenting over is not worthy of grief, and those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. And so Krishna immediately is on his case because Arjuna is confused about what to do. He's on the battlefield in front of his relatives, and as a soldier he's meant to kill them because they have been acting heinously, very badly. But then Krishna goes, and it's called a Sankhya Yoga. Krishna goes and explains about the nature of the soul. And so through kind of appealing to Arjuna's higher intelligence and to his ability to understand things as they are, he explains how the soul is, the actual nature of the soul. And one of the most important things he says about the soul is the soul's relationship with the Supreme Soul. That the soul cannot just be viewed in isolation. So we're not here on our own, and I've kind of said it on many occasions that, you know, the air that we breathe, where are we getting that from? Our heart is beating, our belly is digesting, our eyes are seeing, we're hearing. You know, where's all that come from? You know, we didn't do anything to get that. There's nothing we did, but it's given to us. So it's obvious that there is a power much, much, much greater than us. So this is the power that Bhagavad Gita is trying to explain and try to depict for us and show us who that power is. And in fact, the supreme power himself, Krishna, is telling who he is. Because the danger in the world is that we basically, we cannot understand. Just say if we look out here, I can't see God. Where is God? I can't see anything. I can't see my soul. I can't see your soul, your soul, your soul. I'm kind of very limited in vision. But the actual full explanation of everything that's existing in reality is given in the Vedic scripture and is given in Bhagavad Gita. Definitely the preliminary is there in Bhagavad Gita. And so we take this from Krishna, that who we actually are, because he's a supreme source. As I said, he's greater than us. Somebody is giving us everything. So we take that great source here. He tells us who he is, and all these verses explains how the opulences of the Absolute. Krishna is trying to convince us, in a sense, that who he is, so that we can actually take shelter in him. Because we don't want to take shelter in somebody who's kind of just maybe a little bit more than us, or knows a little bit more than us, because perhaps they're fallible. Somebody like, and you will find that, and this is Prabhupada talks about in the purport. Prabhupada actually warns about it in the purport, which is quite interesting, because when you come to a philosophy lesson or a spiritual class, you tend to hear all very lofty things. You're thinking about so many higher realms and realities, but the person who's actually so much on the Uttama Adhikari stage, which is Srila Prabhupada, who's convinced millions upon millions of people about the nature of God, he starts talking about charlatan meditators. Look out for them. It's such a practical way, because he's lived in the world for so much, or for so long, and he knows how people can easily get misled, and that's the nature of this knowledge that we have here today. I'm not giving what Martin Davis thinks, because he's been around 65 years, and so therefore I've got a lot of knowledge. So I'm actually repeating the knowledge that's been there from the beginning, from the very source. And the next book after this, called the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first 2 or 3 cantos of that book, it about 7 to 10 times it explains about the creation, about what actually happened at the very beginning. And the reason that it does that is that it tries to give us a clear picture of where we are and where we're situated in this world. And actually the knowledge, we're very fortunate to be able to understand this knowledge. And this is something, again, what Prabhupada is speaking about here, that transcendental knowledge is generally not accessible if people are not austere. That's the way it's explained in the Bhagavatam, or the Bhagavad Gita, towards the end. That one cannot understand this message if it is not austere. So there's a lot of emphasis, and there will be in this class and these verses, of becoming fit to be able to receive this knowledge. And one of the most important ways in which we can be fit is through regulation. How we regulate our life when we're here. Prabhupada was very strong before he took any disciples. They would have to promise that from now on they would not have any illicit sex, they would not indulge in meat eating, they wouldn't have any intoxication whatsoever. And you're going to see quite a bit of intoxication tomorrow, by the way. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's a kind of an excuse for intoxication, actually. There's nothing about this, very little about the saint. Somebody said, he drove the snakes out of Ireland. That's what people say, But and then there's no gambling, and again, it's a very special week for gamblers in Ireland at the moment. For horse racing is going on, I'm told. So this is what is required. This is what I'm saying about being austere. And the thing is that you cannot just. One time that was spoken to a famous lord over in the UK. His name was Lord Zetland, and he asked one time. One Brahmin went to see him, and he said, I think he called him Prabhuji. I don't know what he called him, but he said, "Please tell me how I can become a Brahmin." And so the devotee, he listed off those things, those different actions to give up. And of course, he was a lord. He had a But you will notice that as time goes on, if you by practicing, by regulating, and by enjoying, spiritually enjoying, through spiritual senses, through prashad, through discussion with devotees, and through philosophy, through dancing, through singing, that those things will be more easily given up. You will not kind of be attracted by them. But one of the things is that we are here in the world, and we are here because of those things, and because in previous lifetimes we have cultivated those things, and so they're currently existing in our psyche. When we look in front of the mirror, we might see an image coming back, but actually, if we're looking into the mirror, we will see, or if we had higher vision, we would see the product of all our previous desires is existing in front of us. If we had the vision to see, but that's the vision. It's called Shastra Chakshu. It means the ability to see through the scripture. And when we can see that we are afflicted by some of those things, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy, when we can see that we are afflicted by these things, then we're in a good position, because then we're in a position to do something about it. And that is really where the regulative practices come in, because they will build us up so that we can be even-minded amid happiness and distress, honor or dishonor. Another thing which we're also affected by, and badly affected by, is the modes of nature. Sometimes we wake up in the morning and everything is wonderful, it's going well, birds are singing, the sky is blue, occasionally, and but other times we wake up in the morning and we just don't want to wake up. I want to go back to bed. I want to sleep. I don't want to face the world. I've got too many things to do today, and maybe I could take my holidays early, or if I ring in I'm sick, I don't have to do it, And this is a kind of, I think everyone can relate to that somewhat anyway. But this is another thing that we're afflicted by, which is the modes of material nature. There's a constant flow of those modes going on. So here you have, we're affected by the karma from previous lifetimes, that's going on. We've got the modes of material nature, fleeing things left, right and centre. And we have the material world, which was created specifically, perfectly, to allow us a certain amount of enjoyment, but actually it's created perfectly so that we cannot enjoy here, materially. We cannot enjoy our senses. It was created specifically for that. So this is where we find ourselves in spiritual life. And what do we do in these circumstances? Will we say that, oh, it's all good, I think I'll just go and try to be some professional for the next 40, 50 years, and then I'll have a good time, I'll have a good life, and I won't be affected by this or that. And the problem is that everybody has that tendency to think like that, to think that, well, I've got a way out of it whereby I can actually survive here and be happy. But nobody leaves here alive. Everybody leaves, and that, even that alone, we try to live in an illusion that we're not going to die. Like sometimes you go and you see everybody. I was listening to a devotee today. She's a devotee for over 50 years. She's in her 70s now. But she was saying that when she was young, before she heard anything about Krishna consciousness, she was always disturbed when she saw something that was really some suffering. And when she was only 5, I think she saw this person, and he had a very deformed body, and he was trying to beg on the street, and people were just kind of passing him and not really paying any attention. And she couldn't work out why everyone wasn't affected by it. They didn't bother. How everybody can live. Now, obviously, like as a child, you're probably very sensitive in that sense. And you have to, as life goes on, you have to toughen up. You have to deal with all the complexities of the material world. But the reality is, what she was experiencing is that most people are able to cover over those things and not be affected by those things. But the reality is that this is the material world. These are the type of things that go on, and some very horrific things happen here in this material world, to such a degree that some people, they lose their ability even to believe in God. They think that, oh, if there is a God, why did he allow such horrible things to happen? So that's what I want to throw out there, just a little bomb. If anybody's affected there, we can discuss that particular point. So that's even a further confusion in this. So Prabhupada is saying there's another confusion, and that is the confusion of people who are not spiritually realized, but who pose as though they're spiritually realized, and they do it to make an income. And he's saying better if you just go and sweep the street and be honest about doing that than to try to do this other thing. So what do we do then in our life? How do we make the choices that we make? Prabhupada says here that there should be spiritual guidance as regards what we should do. I've noticed probably more so in other countries than in Ireland from the Krishna consciousness point of view, that they have more systems set up whereby people can get guidance from a kind of mentor or whatever. It's not necessarily very strongly set up here in Ireland, but there is advice to be got from devotees regarding different complexities that people will face in their life. The good part is that, and Prabhupada talks about it here, it's like a Varnashram system. Varnashram is a very complex system, actually, or it's a seemingly complex system. But it generally means that people will act according to their propensity, according to what they're good at. Because it kind of makes sense. We're already kind of the product of what we were previously. We are who we are because of what we were, and we will be what we will be by how we're acting now, because we're constantly creating future karma for ourselves in that sense. Or that's the kind of the sub-theme of the class: how to perform work karma-free, and that's really where we want to get to in Krishna consciousness. And so we try to learn how to act according to the propensities that we've got from our previous conditioning. Does that make sense to everybody? You know, it's like somebody might have a propensity to be a nurse, to be a teacher, to be a doctor, or whatever, you know, an educator. So, better that you do that kind of activity, but do it as a service to God. Generally, people do it so that they can get a big income, or they go for a job so they can get higher income, so they can live a little bit more peacefully. They can live in the suburbs rather than in the city centre. Or, you know, there's all these different kind of pressures and things that go on in ourselves internally as well. Ultimately, it doesn't matter where we live, so long as we're living with Krishna or living with God, and we're doing what we're doing to please God. And this whole philosophy that Prabhupada brought made it open for everybody, no matter where you are, what you've done, what you will do. You can practice spiritual life and stop this whole karma forever. So we're getting to the point that we're doing something which is kind of in our propensity, and the reason for that is that we can kind of do it automatically, you know. Generally, when it comes to things like figures, you know, I tend to be able to do the figures kind of. It's when I was younger, my father was he used to do. He was kind of like a general manager of stores, and he used to take in the figures that he got at the end of the day. So sometimes I used to do it for him. So I have a kind of a tendency to do that. Now, also my father also wanted to be a teacher as well, although he couldn't because the income at the time was very low, and he had to work for the family because his father kind of died early. And so, and that's a kind of a tendency that I also had then as well. Not necessarily from him, but it was something that was there. So I would find it easier to function that way rather than some other activity to perform. Like for instance, at the moment I'm working on, and Sham here knows it, like we're working on trying to get a package together so that in the future we can have a beautiful temple just outside Dublin. And there's a lot of mechanics that goes on in that. Like you have to work with this bank, that bank. You've got to talk to solicitors. You've got to talk to accountants. You've got to do a lot of work. You've got to check the place, the land. Is it good? Is there so many? You know, like I could do that kind of all day long. You could say, you know, I don't have a problem doing it. The good thing is it's for a temple. So if my mentality is right, I'm doing it for Krishna. You know. Someone else, I have a friend in Govindadweep, and his name is Padmakara, and he's all the time working out how to get the engine to work on the ferry, you know, and he has the lid open all the time. This is a big complex 100 horsepower engine, and he's already worked out what engine he wants to replace it with and how to take it out. Now, if you open that engine for me, I wouldn't have a clue what's going on. You know, I think, yeah, you put the oil there. Oh, yeah, that's good. I know that. Or you put the water there. But he's doing that for Krishna. He's making that ferry to bring people across to see the deities. You know, and he wants to make that really, really nice. So we all have a kind of a tendency, and the ideal thing is to do this for Krishna. And that's also why we have the temple. You know, we have a temple here. So that there are many things that we can do. We can get microphones ready, we can get, you know, very nice complex systems of sending this message all everywhere. You know, we can have a shop in which we're selling nice items to do relating to Krishna. We can distribute books for Krishna. We can give out Krishna prasadam, you know, to people. There's so many things that we can do, and that's the whole idea, is that we try to do as many things like that, especially in our spare time, because a lot of the time we're employed in some occupation which may not be directly related I run an art gallery as well, so I'm selling mundane paintings. So, okay, so I can give donations to the temple. I do that. And also while I'm doing it, I'm also trying to, I generally have on the computer I have this database, reading about Prabhupada's words or something like this, It's not a facility everybody can do, but this is the way where we're trying to create a scenario whereby people are serving Krishna and thereby becoming happy and becoming satisfied. Because ultimately this is the higher taste. We're the tiny soul. The greater soul who is giving us everything is speaking to us and is saying, we should work and serve me, Krishna says. And that way you'll be happy. Why? Because that's our constitutional position as a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And when we do that, then we can become happy and in this world. And we will become steady even amidst the greatest difficulties or the greatest calamities. And all of us are going to have one very big calamity, and that is when we leave our body. That is going to be a big calamity because we leave everything behind. Your body gets older and older and older, and then eventually it comes to the time when you're going to have to go. You don't know what's going to happen, or it's in one sense it's a big unknown, but if you practice spiritual life, it's not. You actually do know exactly what you want to do and where you want to go. So that is where we want to, strengthen our resolve and our determination, and understand that as a servant of Krishna, that we will experience happiness when we can locate ourselves in this world in that way. And not only that, but we will also achieve something even greater, which is peace. We will achieve actual peace. Because I talked about the modes of material nature, I talked about these are what they're called samskaras, they're called deep impressions from previous lifetimes and from this lifetime. And they are playing themselves out in our life as we speak. Even our relationship with our parents, or there's deep samskaras that are there from that time, and we're still responding to some of those samskaras. So therefore, it's very important when the child or the children are young that they get really good samskaras, good samskaras where they can get strong belief in God. And that they can have really good examples of how to live in this world and how to adopt a spiritual view on life. Not that they're fed. And that actually happens even before birth. It's called the Garbhadan Samskar. Even before birth, when the parents are conceiving the child, if their consciousness is very, very pure, if they're thinking that they want to have a child in this world who will add to the goodness in this world, then that will also that consciousness will attract a soul to come into that body and thereby be beneficial in this world. If their consciousness is, I want to enjoy lust, I want this, then they're going to get a soul who's coming into this world who's also going to, I want. Don't care about anybody else. I want this selfishness is there. So it's totally scientific. And our society is there to try to create good living entities, good progeny, who will help this world through its massive difficulties that it's going on at this particular moment in time. Because there is complete confusion, there's complete faithlessness, there's no belief in God, you could say. And there is a lot of turmoil and strife, and people don't know what to do, and they're confused. So the society's goal is to train people in Krishna consciousness so that they will develop this actual peace in mind, and so therefore they can actually give this peace to others. And the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, set up by Srila Prabhupada and following in Parampara all the way back to Krishna 5,000 years ago and beyond, the mission is to help as many people as possible to make progress for themselves so that they can live peaceful lives themselves. Just one last point, and that is the Yogyatat Karmano Yatra Lokalam Karma Bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage. So the science that we're presenting today is how to work in Krishna consciousness so that we act for God, to please God, not for ourselves. So we're acting in full consciousness that there is a greater being than us, and that being wants us to relocate back to the spiritual dimension, and is training us to do that, and is sending teachers for us to do that. And if we can act in that way, we will not create any future bondage. And not only that, we will actually remove, Krishna says, Ma Suchaha, do not worry. He says, he will remove all the karma, all the activities, all the sinful activities, all the samskaras, the heavy conditioning from our previous lifetimes will be completely removed, and it will not be able to affect us anymore. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be carried to the next body, to the next body, to the next body, by those desires. Our desires are not purified. So when our desires are purified, we will desire only to serve Krishna. Okay, so that's how we perform activity in this world without creating future karma. So that's the lesson for today. Anyone have any comments, any questions they'd like to ask, anything, or anything that came up during the talk that?
Yes, I just have a question regarding something you mentioned earlier, that transcendental knowledge isn't accessible unless you're austere. So I'm just curious as to why that is, and does this have anything to do with intellect, or there is probably no requirement for having good intellect to access or acquire transcendental knowledge? And also because I have seen people who are into austerity because of the circumstances, but they probably never get any transcendental knowledge, so I'm just curious about it.
Very good question. Yeah, no, austerity alone is not the qualification. Yeah, that's correct. Well, that's well. You brought that point up well. Krishna says it in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's not enough on its own. We need to also get the blessings from the pure devotees and from Krishna coming into civic succession. I was saying, when I was saying about austerity, I meant that we have to do something as well, though. We have to make ourselves fit. Some people are naturally austere, so I don't have to really do that much. Some people find it hard to perform any austerity, but in the second chapter towards the end, Krishna's talking about controlling the mind, controlling the senses. Now we have to have the determination to do that, and so that's kind of like our part of the bargain. And it doesn't guarantee that we'll have success, but we won't have success without it in that sense, unless we're very fortunate and we get, it's called, let me think of this phrase, some phrase, it's just complete mercy that you're lifted up. But in general, Krishna wants to see how determined we are. He wants to see, because he's going to do a big thing for us. He's going to take in all our karma, which has been going on for millions of lifetimes. He's going to just kind of remove all of that. And so many times, and Prabhupada was talking about cheating as well. You remember that whole section about the false meditator? We have a tendency to cheat. That's part of what we say. Don't worry, Krishna, I'll do this, and we don't. We kind of make these kind of promises, and we sometimes even do it unconsciously. But we have that tendency to cheat. But Krishna knows you can't cheat Krishna. He knows when we're serious and sincere. So a lot of the qualification is that we have to become very serious and sincere about really wanting to actually leave this world. So, but yeah, no, that's true. So, as you say, it's not an intellectual requirement. Prabhupada gave this example. There was a very simple lady, I think she was. She used to clean the temple every morning. She used to get cold water and used to clean the temple. I think between 4 and 5. This is in Radha Damodar in the 1940s, no, 1950s, 60s, 70s. And Prabhupada says, well, by that activity, she's going back to Godhead. That's where she's going, because she's completely convinced, and she's doing it for God. So so that's a good point, that it's not just intellect, but it's definitely the desire. Desire has to be strong. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Very good. Any other comments? Anyone would like to ask or add anything? Nick, you usually have a question. You came a little bit late, so you're not wound up yet.
I have one question.
Yeah.
How to control your thoughts and emotions? Because sometimes it takes control over you, and we become very miserable.
Yeah.
For example, international students like us become we are alone, we feel alone, lonely.
Yeah.
So we miss our family.
Yeah.
Finding.
Very nice question. Very nice question. Yeah, I mean, you could say that ultimately we're never alone, if we constantly read Bhagavad Gita. It's very, very good, like in the morning times. We realize that Krishna is there with you, just by consulting, by just actually reading, that gives us a great sense of stability. Because Krishna is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Mother. He's the one who protects it. Now he does this through our own mothers and fathers, and it says no, you cannot, or your family or whatever. Krishna does that through them in that sense too. So when they're not there, that's the normal way in which we're accessing that kind of friendliness and support and comfort and whatever. The chanting also does really help. Constant chanting is the way of the great sages, and that's why you find that even as we go on in life, the whole Varnashram is that we start off in student life, and then we get into married life, but then the next stage up from 50 onwards is retired life. You're kind of moving out from the whole family, and protection, and then you go into sannyas, That's a very good way in which we can, be on our own and be able to be with God at the same time. So, but now is the time for practice. So in that sense, this is a time to practice that a little bit. And plus you will, when you come back again to your family, you'll feel even more, fulfilled. But the other point that you were making is, which is about thoughts coming in. That is, that's always going to be there. Like I've been practicing quite a number of years, and And we're talking about controlling the mind and controlling the senses. The whole second chapter of Bhagavad Gita was talking about that. You know, so that we can actually act. The example was given of the tortoise. When there's all sorts of, I'll put in inverted commas, nonsense activities going on outside, and we will see quite a few nonsense activities tomorrow. I can guarantee you. I've been in Ireland for the last 65 years, and well, 60 of them I can remember. But St. Patrick's Day is a day when people do all sorts of nonsense things. In fact, St. Patrick's Day was a time when I used to do a lot of nonsense things myself. And so I know what's in the mentality. But if we kind of go, hey, I want to go along with that, yeah, give me this beer and whatever. As you said very, very nicely, you'll be miserable. You know, the next morning you'll think, why did I do that? And you'll be grumpy and whatever. You know, there will be no happiness from that. So, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Purima nama chala pratishtam samudram pax pravi santi sadvat. He says that when one who is able to tolerate, you know, the incessant flow of desires, which are always coming in like a rivers into an ocean, which is constantly being filled, but which is never disturbed, that person is able to actually reach me. So this whole idea of tolerance is big in spiritual life. You have to tolerate. So we have to tolerate ourselves, you know. Sometimes we have to even tolerate ourselves that we're too heavy on ourselves. We say, no, you should be like this, why are you not like this? Or, you know. But sometimes we have to also be a little bit more tolerant of ourselves as well. We can't expect, you know, that we're going to do everything all at once and that we're great sadhus or whatever. So that's what I liked about your question. It was kind of a vulnerable question. So you were accepting the situation, which is very good, you know, which is a very good qualification for hearing and sharing it as well. You know, the general tendency is not. But that's another great way. It's very valuable in spiritual life. And there's 6 loving exchanges. Does that anyone tell me what those loving exchanges are? Okay, one of them is, 2 of them is to give prasadam and to accept prasadam. You know, which is a nice one. And the 3rd and 4th one, and this is along the lines which you're saying, is to reveal your mind in confidence and to hear in confidence someone else revealing their mind. That's great. That is great satisfaction. And these are spiritual, but they're also material laws as well. And the 3rd one is, can anyone know the 5th and 6th one? I'm just trying to point. Giving and receiving prasadam, revealing the mind, and and offering and receiving gifts. You know, I've met some amazing devotees who constantly give gifts. You know, and I'm terrible at that. I'm just terrible. I just don't think about it. I don't know if my wife is listening at the moment, but if she is, she's probably saying, yeah, you're like that. But it is, anytime I see a devotee do that, I could think, wow, that's great. There was one devotee from France, and she came, we never met her actually, but she used to talk during COVID, she used to talk online. We used to have great Bhagavad Gita discussions. Then eventually she came over and she had a present for everybody, for all the people that she had just online. Like a hat, some got a scarf, somebody else got. And I was really moved by it, you know. And so these kind of things, which I think is important in, you know, to have these kind of interactions, that they can help us. But the thing is, though, that these thoughts and whatever, and as I was explaining at the start of the class, we have to be able to tolerate those things, because we're tolerating our past karma, we're tolerating our, our anarthas, that means the unwanted things, lust, anger, greed. We're tolerating how we're acting based on the samskaras that that has been impressed upon us in previous lifetime. And like this is a samskara you're actually experiencing at the moment, which is the feeling of being away from home, and it's weighing down, it's making an impression on you. So in spiritual life, it's good to admit it and see it, but then again, there will always be a disturbance, no matter what we do, because that's the nature of the material world. And sometimes the disturbance is that we're getting some happiness, some seeming happiness for a while. So the wise person is not disturbed either in happiness or distress. So Bhagavad Gita, that's what the whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. Not to be, disturbed in those things, and to focus on serving Krishna, on constantly being aware of Krishna, and realizing that he's the boss, he's in control. We can't really control anything. Yeah, we can try somewhat to do a little controlling here and there, but ultimately that's also coming from God. So Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Ma Suchaha, do not worry, just surrender unto me. I will protect you from all sinful activity. Do not fear. So that is that's what the whole goal of the Krishna consciousness movement is about. Is how to learn how to surrender. Like every one of us here is going to get a disturbance, I would say, in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Some disturbance. Maybe it's not big, but one of them over the next several years is going to be big. And how are we going to deal with that? How much are we going to be affected by it? Or how much are we going to let ourselves be affected by it? We cannot just be oblivious to it. Like we will, and again, that's what I liked about your question, is that you were honestly expressing how you're feeling. That's very important, I think, from any studies I've done. It's important to, okay, that's it, recognize it, realize it's there, but then move on, and learn how to bring the knowledge. That's where the intelligence comes from. And that's what Arjuna, he's kind of in this huge dilemma. Not only has he lost his family members, but he has to kill them, which is going to be a huge impression on him. And the whole Bhagavatam, actually very interesting, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Has everyone heard of the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
It's the next phase after Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
And it's going to take up from the first canto is all about what happened after the Battle of Kurukshetra. How all this, how they were so affected by, because you imagine, because Arjuna is after killing all his kinsmen. His big brother Yudhishthira is in the same situation. But they could not be comforted even by Krishna himself. But Krishna speaks through Bhishma, who's lying on a bed of arrows. And then Bhishma gives the knowledge by which they can actually be, spiritual knowledge, by which they can be comforted and actually go on living properly in the world. Okay, I'll stop there. Is there anything else?
I only just got here, but one question is, I guess I only got the last couple of minutes, but would be like free will, divine, that we ring until we finally learn the lesson that we're here to serve Krishna and not ourselves.
Yeah.
Is that the?
Yeah.
It's about, as it Wayne, but you can be a host to God or a slave to your ego. Is that until we finally get that lesson that we keep on reincarnating, that we're here to serve Krishna, God, not ourselves?
Yeah. That's actually that's the required intelligence, and also it's a question also of love. It really comes about through loving God. We've developed that relationship with God, and that's the divine relationship ultimately. Loving God, loving Radha and Krishna. which is even more profound. And our whole existence and our whole study, and this is why we're going through all these books, hearing from the authorities and all of that, is to get that spark of love going. We won't be. It won't be a kind of something we talked about earlier, an intellectual thing. We won't be able to do it intellectually, but it will be a profound outpouring of love towards God. It will be reciprocal. Pure devotees, like they're constantly in contact with God. And we're in a movement in that sense, which is full of pure devotees, and also aspiring devotees as well. And so by hearing and by discussing, that love is generated or is awakened. That's the prayer we say at the beginning. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance to him. So Krishna is constantly serving through the book Bhagavad, through the person Bhagavad, constantly sending kind of emissaries to us so that we can develop that love. And we can actually even love our spiritual guide, our spiritual master, and that's as good in us as loving God. But the spiritual master is giving us God as well. So there's incredibly profound relationships going on, and that's when we won't feel lonely as well. When we have that outpouring of love for God, and it's spontaneous, we will never ever feel lonely again. But there's another thing which comes from that, and that is we will develop a huge compassion for all who are not experiencing that. And like that's what this whole movement is about. Srila Prabhupada serving his spiritual master, his spiritual master, Lord Chaitanya appearing, Krishna appearing, to help people who are not experiencing that, for us to experiencing it ourselves and to share it as well. But it's the whole thing is for us to also experience that though, and then that will happen. Do you follow up on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, close.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay.
I just thought that you might have another thought.
No.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, is there a way to attract the spiritual master into your life?
Yeah.
Someone, because I know it. Pray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's said when the disciple is ready, the spiritual master appears, and it means that when you're so helpless that you're dependent, you're really depending on hearing somebody else, and you're prepared to you want it so much that Krishna is fulfilling that, because He is the ultimate spiritual master. God is in your life and is there. He's actually living in our heart, and He's telling us to surrender as such. But it's this task of surrendering is not as easy.
This is becoming more aware, the lower self, the higher, or the ego and the soul.
Yeah. Or the false ego. It's so subtle. So subtle. It's very difficult sometimes to even perceive it, but it's there. But it's in that sense, that's where the fun is.
Thank you.
How do you know? Okay, so we'll go on to the next part, which is the Kirtan. Thanks everybody. So next week we're going from probably about from 10 to 15 next Friday. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai.
On Tuesday we are doing also book reading on Zoom. So at the moment we are reading the perfect questions, perfect answers. We are left with the last 3 chapters, which we are hoping to finish this Tuesday. Then following week we will start with Science of Self-Realization. So anyone who wants to join the online book club on Zoom, you can follow the temple WhatsApp group or contact me directly. I'll send you the link.
Is it here as well, or just on Zoom?
No, it's only on Zoom.
It's on Zoom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
every possible method to hear. See, if we go online and hear that, then we won't look at the newspapers, at the sports results, or whatever. You know, to spend time to focus on spiritual things. Vishnu Hridaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharya Nirvishesha Sambhavani Krishna Deshatana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna Okay, last one.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Krishna Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Srimade Bhakti Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Radhe Govinda Jayo Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Jayo Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Jayo Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Jayo Radhe Govinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Jayo Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jayo Radhe Shyam Jayo Radhe Shyam Jayo Radhe Shyam Jayo Vrindavan Ram Jayo Radhe Shyam Jayo Vrindavan Ram Jayo Vrindavan Ram Jayo Vrindavan Jayo
प्रभु जी इसका मैं क्या करूँ? ये बंद पड़ गया प्रभु। प्रभु जी अभी रखो।
It is charging, Prabhu. It is charging, don't worry.
What's charging?
Oh
Okay.
my God, don't open this one. This is the same one.
There's only one Prabhu. Wait. This is unmuted, okay.
Yeah. Because you
Oh, it's loud. I thought it would be nice if we just read a few lines from Bhagavad Gita, if that's okay. Everyone's happy with that? So it's open here, so we're going to trust where we are, which is text 3. Karma Yoga. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Arjuna, I've already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretending. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga and Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. I'm going to sing this famous bhajan, which is called Jai Radha Madhava. I know everyone has heard it often, so I just sing, and if you can, please follow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Srila Prabhupada ki, Panchatattva ki.
Hare
One more time, everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama One last time, a little bit louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Swadam Yatra ki.
So now we have some exercise. You can all stand up and dance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Stay not rushing, Gaya. Well, thank you everybody for coming and joining in and singing and chanting. So we're going to just have a little bit of some cookies.